Here we go. You're live. Yay, there we go. Okay, so today we're actually going to start in child's pose. So if you want to go ahead and flip over onto your hands and knees, we'll take our toes together and our knees as wide as the mat. Sit your hips back over top of your ankles and then stretch your arms forward, allowing that head to fall down toward the mat gently. Just taking a few deep breaths here. Starting to center yourself in this time and place. And when you're ready, you can start to walk your hands over to the right hand side. And if you'd like, you can place your left palm on top of your right. Just adding a little deeper stretch to that side body. Continuing to breathe deeply. And then when you're ready, you can start to walk those hands over to the left side. This time taking your right palm on top of your left hand. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and come back to center. We're going to take that right hand and slide it underneath our left arm. Getting a nice stretch on the back side of that right shoulder. The thread the needle pose. And then sliding that right arm out. Go ahead and start to take the left arm underneath the right arm. Coming back down for a nice stretch on the left shoulder. Again, using your breath to help center your focus. And then taking that left hand, go ahead and slide that back out once more for child's pose. Then pressing your palms into the mat, we're going to slowly move ourselves up onto all fours. We do our tabletop pose. So here we want to make sure our wrists are underneath our shoulders, that our back is not arched in either direction, but it's just in a nice neutral position. Think about drawing your belly button up towards your spine, so you're engaging your abdominal wall. And then also think about softening that tailbone down, so that way your pelvic bone is in a nice neutral position. And then if you would like, you can explore by pressing your hands into the mat. You'll feel that tightening all of the muscles up through your arms and up into your shoulders. Maybe even across the back of the shoulder a little bit. Continuing to keep your head in a neutral position. And then go ahead, we're going to start to do some of our cat-cows here. So we're going to go ahead and drop our bellies, allow the tailbone to come up now. Allow the crown of the head to come up. And then go ahead and tuck the tailbone, allow that arch to come through your spine, stretching through your shoulder blades, and then allow the crown of the head to fall down toward the mat. Really pushing the mat away with those palms. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and start to arch your back the opposite direction, coming back in the cow. And then when you're ready to exhale, arching up into cat. Doing 3 or 4 of these sets. Going at your own pace. And then coming back to neutral, we're going to go ahead and sit back on our heels once more, walking our hands back toward our bodies. I'm just going to shake out the lungs a little bit. And then stretching forward, we're going to take our hands back to the mat, coming to all fours once more. We're going to start to turn our left foot out to the side as we step back with the right foot and then shift our weight onto our left palm here. Kind of opening up toward that long edge of the mat. You can reach up toward the ceiling if you would like. Thinking about drawing that belly button in towards your spine again. And then go ahead and start to reach that arm up over your head, really stretching out that side body. Holding this for a couple of breaths. And then if you can, you're going to start to work yourself up onto that knee. So you're going to start to stand your upper body up. You might need to reposition yourself on your mat. That's okay. And then you're going to take both arms out to either side, getting a nice stretch either in through this inner thigh area, also along the back of your leg slightly. Taking a nice deep breath, really thinking about pressing in through the outer edge of your foot on the mat. Taking those shoulders down away from your ears. And then go ahead and tip back to the side. So you're taking that left palm back down to the mat. You're reaching up overhead with that right arm again. And you're reaching straight up with that right arm, looking up into the palm of your hand if you can. And then sweeping that right arm back down to the mat. You're turning your hips back towards the short edge of your mat and bringing your knees underneath your hips once more. So I'm going to turn around so we can take the other side, and that way I can still face you. So we're going to go ahead and start in our tabletop once more, taking our right foot out to the side. We're going to step back with the left foot, really pressing into that outer edge of that foot, then shifting our weight to the right palm. We're going to reach up with the left. Again, if you would like, you can look up toward that palm. Checking in with your neck, that you're not overextending it in any certain direction, but just that it's a natural extension of your spine. And then if you're ready, you can take that left arm up and overhead. If you'd like to look down towards your right palm, you can, if that's more comfortable. Really getting a nice side body stretch here. Taking one more deep breath. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and start to work yourself up onto that right knee. Extending both arms out to either side, really pressing in through the outer edge of that left foot. Taking some deep breaths. Checking in with your tailbone, that it's still softened down. Your spine is still lengthened. And then taking that right palm back to the mat. Extending that left arm up and overhead again for a nice side body stretch. And then taking that left arm up toward the ceiling again, looking up into your palm if you would like. Then taking that hand back down to the mat, starting to turn your hips again toward the short edge of the mat, shifting your weight to come back into all fours, and then go ahead and sit your hips back, stretching forward into child's pose once more. So as you rest here, I'm going to open up to our meditational thought for today. I took inspiration for this, for our meditation today from the phrase that says, "Do as I say, not as I do," which we all know to be a fallacy, or something that doesn't tend to work. But some of the best lessons that I have received in my life are from people who say, "Do as I do." So people who have modeled the way before me. When you're ready, you're gonna pull yourself up onto all fours. We're gonna tuck our toes and then lift our hips. We're gonna push back into our downward facing dog. If you'd like, you can modify this pose. You can always come down and stay in child's pose. That's one modification. You can also come down onto your elbows if that's more comfortable for you. Or you can come into puppy dog pose with your hips still in the air and then your arms down on the mat. If you'd like, you can start to rock from side to side here. Just getting a nice stretch on the back side of the legs. Engaging the muscles on your upper arms. And then looking forward, you're going to step your feet or walk your feet towards your hands. If you're in child's pose, you're going to shift into tabletop and then just step forward to the front of your mat into forward fold. And then go ahead and bend your knees deeply. Take one elbow in each hand. And then drop your head for ragdoll pose. When you're ready, you can drop those arms down, take the hands to your knees, and then very slowly round yourself up to a standing position. Very good. We're going to come to the top of our mats and we're going to do one round of sun salutation A on either side. I'm going to take off my socks because we're getting hot, which is a good sign. Means our bodies are working.
Those are knee socks.
Yeah, those are, and yeah, they're like wool and very warm. So we're going to start at the top of our mat. We'll take our arms up overhead as we inhale. Bring our palms together, folding all the way forward as we exhale. Inhaling into flat back, so coming up to your fingertips or palms on shins. Then exhaling all the way forward, stepping back with the right foot, and then stepping back with the left foot, lowering down to the mat. Then inhaling up into cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling all the way down. Inhaling and tucking the toes. Exhaling as we push up into plank. Then go ahead and shift those hips back into downward facing dog. And looking forward, step forward with your right foot. And then forward with your left foot. Stretching into forward fold. Inhaling both arms all the way up. Coming overhead and then exhaling those arms down. And we'll do that one more time on the other side. So inhale, arms up. Bring the palms together, exhale all the way forward. And go ahead and inhale to flat back. And then exhale, forward fold. This time stepping back with the left foot. Stepping back with the right foot. Exhaling all the way down. And then lifting into cobra as you inhale. Exhale all the way down. Inhale and tuck your toes. Exhale and push up. Shift those hips back. Coming into downward facing dog. Then looking forward, step forward with your left foot. Then with your right. Exhale and fold forward. Inhale, both arms up all the way. And then exhale, arms down. That was our warm up for our active pose. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and step back with our right foot, coming to a high crescent lunge. So that means that the heel of the foot is over the ball of the foot. And once you find your firm footing, making sure that you're feeling stable, soften that tailbone down. You'll feel that stretch on the front side of the right leg. And then go ahead and raise your arms for crescent lunge. Holding this for a breath or two. We're going to go ahead and step our back foot in just a little bit. And we're going to straighten both legs, and then we're going to fold forward over top of that left foot for pyramid. And we're going to stay here for several breaths. But like I said earlier, some of the best lessons that I have learned have been from people in my life who have said, do as I do. They've modeled the way for me. Or it's just that they were being who they were, and it was a lesson that I caught rather than a lesson that they taught me. I, last night, got to be a part of on Monday nights, I get to be a part of a group called Marvelous Mondays. When you're ready, we're going to go ahead and walk our hands to the long edge of our mat. We're going to shift our toes toward the long edge of the mat for wide open A. We're going to stay here for several breaths. So anyway, like I said, I get to be a part of this group called Marvelous Mondays on a weekly basis. It's a kids program from a church, a local church here in town. And we've been going through the fruits of the Spirit. And so last night we were talking about patience. And we defined it as patience is waiting with a good attitude. And it was going okay. The kids kept talking over each other a whole bunch. And, we had already laid out the ground rules from the beginning. And they were not listening. So we weren't sure how much they were even getting. When you're ready, go ahead and start to shift your weight to the left foot, coming into a side lunge. Really stretching into the inner thigh on that right leg. Then walking back to center, we're going to shift our weight to the other side. Again, coming into side lunge. Then we're going to shift our weight back towards the front as we turn our left set of toes toward the short edge of the mat, bending that front knee, and we're going to take that back leg and step back into runner's lunge. Leaving our right palm there, we're going to lift our left hand up toward the ceiling for a gentle twist. And then sweeping that arm back down. We're going to go ahead and step that left foot back to meet the right. And then we're going to take our vinyasa. So that means we'll lower all the way down to the mat. Inhale up into cobra. Exhale all the way down. Tuck those toes and inhale. And then push up into our plank. Exhaling as we shift back into downward facing dog. Inhale and look forward. Step forward with the right. Then step forward with the left. Fold all the way forward as we exhale. Inhale, both arms up. All the way up. And then exhale those arms down. Very good. And now we will take the other side. So we're going to start by, here, I'm going to turn around again so I can continue to face you all. So this time we're going to step back with our left foot coming into our crescent lunge on the other side. So again, making sure that those feet feel firmly planted into the mat, making sure that your tailbone is softened down. You're stretching the front of that left hip, making sure that this knee is directly over top of your ankle. It's not splaying out to either side, and it's not jutting over top of your toes either. And once all of that is ready, then you can lift your arms for crescent lunge. Holding this for several breaths. And then we're gonna go ahead and step that back leg in just a little bit, straightening both legs, and then folding forward over top of our right leg for triangle pose. But as I was saying, the lesson seemed to be going okay, and then the kids, these are 6th through 12th grade, so it's a wide range of kids, and they just kept talking over each other, and it was really hard to keep them quiet. And the leader, she just did such an amazing job. Instead of, yelling or like trying to get their attention or, doing any number of other things that she could have done, she just sat there patiently waiting for them. She was modeling for them the lesson that she was teaching with her words, but then she put it into action. And after just a few moments, the kids all quieted down and looked at her kind of like, "What are you doing?" And it was that moment that reinforced, I think, all of her teaching that she had done up until that point. So when we're ready, we're gonna go ahead and walk our hands to the long side of the mat, turning our toes toward the long edge. Again, folding forward. If this is difficult on your head at all, feel free to just come up a little bit. Maybe put your hands on your shins instead for support instead of down on the floor. Taking some deep breaths here. So the invitation for us, one of the invitations for us today is to consider what are the lessons that we have caught from other people? Or maybe there's a moment where somebody mentioned to you, "Hey, I learned this from you because of what you modeled for me. Learned from you because I was observing you and kind of emulating your actions or copying your character." When you're ready, you're going to start to bend your right knee, shifting into a side lunge here, really getting a good stretch on the inside of that left leg. And then go ahead and shift to the other side, bending that left knee, keeping the feet both planted on the mat. Then we're going to shift back to our right foot, but we're going to turn our right toes toward the short edge of the mat, and then walk our hands around there as we bend that front leg, and then step back with the back leg. Coming into our runner's lunge. We're going to plant our left hand on the mat, reach up with the right for a gentle spinal twist here. Then sweeping that right hand back down to the mat. We're going to go ahead and step back with that right foot, coming into our plank pose. And then you're going to take your vinyasa if you would like to. So lowering down all the way to the mat, lifting up into cobra, then exhaling all the way down. Inhale and tuck your toes. Exhale and push up into plank. Shift those hips back as you come into downward facing dog. Looking forward, inhaling as you step the left foot forward. And then exhale as you step the right foot forward. Coming into forward fold. Inhale, both arms out to either side. Bring them all the way up. And then exhale all the way down. Very good. Ah, that's so good.
Good.
It is. A few pains here and there.
A few pains here and there. No, I get that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start in mountain, kind of in the middle of our mat this time. So just a reminder, we're gonna press both feet into the mat so that engages all the muscles in our legs. We're gonna make sure that that belly button is pulled in toward our spine. We're gonna make sure our shoulders are down away from our ears. And then if you would like, you can open up the palms toward the front. Just taking a few cleansing breaths here. And when you're ready, we're gonna move into warrior three pose. So we're gonna take that right foot and step it slightly forward. We're gonna start to lift both hands up overhead. We're gonna take that back foot kind of like a kickstand behind us for balance. I would encourage you to take your upper body parallel to the floor first. And then if you can, to start to raise that back leg for warrior three. When you got there, then go ahead and set that back leg down. You're gonna shift into high lunge. And then you're gonna open up to the side, and it's backwards, so now I'm not facing you all, sorry, to warrior two. So that means that your back foot is perpendicular to your front foot, and your hips are open to the long edge of your mat as you have both arms up. And then you're gonna kind of pinwheel these both hands down to the mat. You're gonna walk your hands forward slightly as you lift that back leg once more, coming parallel to the floor if you can. And then if you would like, you can leave that right hand on the mat and then start to reach up with the left hand for half moon. And then sweeping that left arm back down, you're gonna go ahead and step that back foot back, shifting into triangle pose. And then you're gonna go ahead and turn that back foot. So you might need to step a little bit further back. So again, you are in perpendicular feet position here. So one foot is pointing toward the short edge, one foot is pointing toward the long edge of the mat. You're gonna bend that front knee, start to bring your right elbow to your right knee, and then to reach up and over for side angle. And I'm gonna turn around because I feel really weird. My back to you all. And then if you would like, you're gonna take that left hand back down to the mat. We're gonna keep our feet in this position. And if you can, reach up with your right hand. Sweeping that back down. Coming back into our side angle. You just do as much as you can, you know?
Oh, my eyes are screaming.
And then straighten both legs. You're gonna hold on to that front ankle as you reach up with your left hand. And then sweeping that arm down. We're gonna go ahead and step that back foot in. And then coming into a forward fold. Sweeping both arms all the way up. And then exhale, arms all the way down. Very good. We have one more of those to do on the other side, and then we're done with the active portion for today. So, again, we're starting in the middle of our mat with our mountain pose. Taking a few deep breaths. And then when you're ready, you're gonna take that left foot, step it forward just slightly. We're gonna take the right foot, kind of like a little kickstand behind us. Once we've got our balance, we're extending both arms up overhead, and then bending at our waist, We're gonna go ahead and bring our upper body parallel to the floor, or as much as you can. And then if you would like, you can start to lift that back foot coming parallel to the floor as well for warrior 3. Once you're there, you're gonna set that back foot down, shifting into high lunge. And then we're gonna open up to this long edge of the mat, coming into warrior 2. So that means we're shifting that back foot so those toes are pointed toward the long edge of the mat. We're gonna kind of pinwheel these hands back down to the mat as we allow the back heel to come up. We're gonna walk those hands forward slightly, shifting our weight to that front foot as we bring the back leg up. And if you can either stay here or you're gonna plant your left palm on the mat and then start to reach up with the right hand for half moon. Sweeping that hand back down. We're gonna go ahead and set that back foot down, coming into triangle pose. We're gonna take that back foot, step back a little bit further, bending the front knee. Bring our left elbow to the left knee. Turn that back foot so that way again we're in our perpendicular pose here, reaching that right arm up overhead for side angle. And then turning toward the front, we're going to take that right hand down to the mat, reach up with the left if you can. Then coming back to that same side angle pose, we're taking the left elbow to the left knee, reaching up and over with that right arm. And then we're straightening that front leg, holding on to that front ankle. Then we're just taking both hands back down to the mat, the pyramid. Taking some deep breaths and bending that foot. We're going to step that back foot up to meet the left foot. And folding forward, sweeping both arms up all the way, and then exhaling down. And we made it.
We did.
I made it. I am very sweaty. Okay, very good.
All right.
Okay, so we are ready for a couple of our balancing poses. If you need to kind of, I thought that was balance, right? If you need to kind of stretch out your hips and your glutes, feel free to do that as we move into, some of our balancing postures. But we're going to start with a mountain pose in the middle, as we always do. And we're going to do something different today. We're doing a curtsy lunge. So we're taking our right leg kind of at an angle back behind our left leg. And then we're going to bend both knees down into, this is curtsy lunge. Kind of like, ta-da, I'm curtsying, right? And if you would like, you can bring your hands to heart center. If you want a little bit more of a challenge for your arms, you can bring them out into cactus pose. Continuing to breathe. And then go ahead and step up out of that. Release the arms down into mountain pose. Very good. And now we'll do the other side. Taking the left foot back at an angle behind our right foot. And then go ahead and bend both knees down. And then again, bring your arms up, either to heart center or up into cactus arms. Continuing to breathe as we hold this. Working on our balance, working on that cross the body, brain connection stuff too, and then stepping forward into mountain pose and releasing those arms down. Very good. We're going to go ahead and move into big toe pose. So again, we're gonna start with mountain, shift our weight to the left foot, drawing the right knee forward, just using this as kind of a home base position for us. And if you would like, you can use your index finger and your thumb and hook that around your big toe. And then start to straighten that leg out in front of you. And if you would like, you can explore further by coming out to the side, coming back in front, bending it back down, coming back to our home base, and then stepping out, shaking out that other foot. Whew. Okay, and then for the other side, again, starting in mountain pose, shifting our weight to the right foot, drawing that left knee forward, then using our index finger and thumb to hook around that big toe, and then straightening that out in front of us. If you'd like, you can try bringing it out to the side, bringing it back in front, folding it down, coming, if you can, back to home base. Sometimes it's a little bit wobbly, and that's okay. And then stepping out, shaking out those legs. All right, we're gonna move into yoga squat. So if you would like to come back to the center of your mats, we're gonna take kind of a wide-legged stance, and we're gonna sink our hips down. And we're gonna bring our elbows to the inside of our knees. So if you need to do this and your feet don't hit the floor all the way, and you're like this and your heels are up, that's just fine. If you would like to, and you can kind of rock yourself side to side and work into it, feel free to do that too. Take one more deep breath. Very good. And then planting your hands on the mat, and go ahead and lift those hips up toward the ceiling, turning our toes toward the long edge of the mat. Taking some deep breaths, and then go ahead and start to work yourself back down to the mat into a child's pose position. And as you rest here and just kind of recover your breath for a little bit, I have a few more thoughts for us. So we were thinking about our meditation for today, thinking about how we learn by observing the people around us, and how we learn a lot of those lessons best when people model the way for us. I thought it would also be interesting to dive into a little bit of the brain science behind that. A baby has 100 billion neurons when they're born. They have 50 trillion neural connections, also known as synapses. And by the time that they're adults, that grows to around 500 trillion synapses. And synapses are those neural connections, but they act like interstates in our brains, carrying knowledge to and from different areas of the brain. And over time, our brains kind of shed the neural connections that are not used. And depending on your experience and the connections formed and kept, that will determine what kind of a person you become. Whether you become intelligent, loving, kind, empathetic, as opposed to maybe mean or ignorant or selfish. And this is why parenting is so critical for kids' brain development. And also, I think it gives a good example of why do as I say, not as I do doesn't really work as well as do as I do. Because kids and adults both learn through observation and through modeling. I found out through this research or through reading through these things about the brain development of children, that a toddler's brain makes 1 million connections every second.
What?
1 million connections every second.
A toddler?
A toddler, yes. I mean, they say kids are like sponges, right? And so 0 to 5 is really pretty critical for that brain growth development. But here's the encouraging part. And I'll have us go ahead and pull up into all fours
Oh,
here.
boy. I just had a thought. Oh, my gosh.
We're gonna step our left foot forward here and into a low lunge on the left side. But it really is a good example. If a toddler's brain is making 1 million connections every second, then they're learning constantly. And they don't learn only by the things that we say, but by the things that we do.
More so?
More
I would
so.
say more so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So planting that right hand on the mat once more. We're gonna reach up with that left hand once more for a twist. Stretching that left arm back down to the mat. We're gonna start to walk our hands back as we shift our weight to that back knee, straightening that front leg. It's cooling down now. And then walking our hands forward as we shift our weight back to that front foot. And then stretch into this low lunge, and then step that left knee back to meet the right. All right, stepping our right foot forward. Again, stretching forward into that low lunge. Planting the left hand on the mat, reaching up with the right. And taking that right hand back down to the mat. And shifting that weight to the back knee as we walk our hands back, straighten that front leg, perhaps split. And then walking our hands forward as we shift our weight to the front foot once more, stretching into that low lunge. Go ahead and step that right foot back, coming back onto all fours. We're gonna cross our feet behind us and then sit our hips back so that way we come into a seated pose. Or get there however you would like. It doesn't have to be that way. Thinking about sitting nice and tall, just go ahead and do a couple slow shoulder rolls here. Take it the other direction. When you're ready, let those shoulders kind of settle down. We're going to take both feet out in front of us first. And then if you're able to, we're going to sweep that right foot back into the side. This is what I mean by that. So leading our knee forward, our ankle is back behind us. We're going to take our left hand at an angle behind our left hip, leaning back and then reaching forward to the front of that right thigh. If you need a little bit more, you can actually come down onto your elbow here for a little deeper stretch. If you need even more, you can start to help that ankle kind of work towards your body a little bit further. Taking another deep breath. Then working ourselves out of that pose, setting that foot back and forth in front of ourselves. Excuse me, we're going to take the other side. So we're going to shift our weight so that way we can fold that left ankle behind, keep the left knee forward though. And we're taking that right hand at an angle behind our right hip, reaching forward with the left hand toward the left knee. And again, if you need a little deeper stretch, you can always come down onto your elbow here. Again, reaching forward with that left hand. Seeing if you can keep that knee down on the mat so it's not coming up off of the mat. One more deep breath here. And then go ahead and work yourself up out of that pose, bring that foot back in front. Taking both legs straight out from us, sitting nice and tall, inhale, arms up. And then fold forward over top of those legs. And go ahead and work yourself up out of that pose and into a laying down pose here. And lowering ourselves down to the mat. If you'd like to bring those knees into your chest first, you're welcome to do that. Extending your legs down when you're ready. Opening up your hands toward the ceiling. Just relaxing everything. Drawing those shoulders down away from your ears. Coming into our final relaxation pose. And again, I invite you to consider our question of the day. What are lessons that you've learned? That you learned because it was something you observed in someone else, not necessarily because it was something that you were directly taught. When you're ready, you can go ahead and start to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, roll to one side, and gently push yourself up into a seated pose. And let me pray for us before we go. God, thank you for your example for us. God, thank you that you model the way before us and that you don't just give us words, but that you show us in action as well. God, would you help us to do that for others around us and help us to just model the way. We love you and it's in your name we pray.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I know. That was a big one for the thighs.